empty the chamber on them. And how do you do that? First 6 seconds, put 8 point beat, everything you got. Everything you got. Turn that shit up. Let's go.
Welcome to Scoop World Order Signing Day Eve edition. It is National Signing Day tomorrow. It's weird having that December signing. It's really fun. Excited about it. A lot of guys going to lock in their commitment to Ohio State tomorrow. We have some big portal news, all kinds of great stuff. We're going to go through the recruiting class with Bill Greene, who is fresh off a wonderful vacation. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. That being said, as always, we are thankful and grateful for you guys. Thank you guys for spending your time with us. If you guys want the best Christmas gift on this entire earth, a subscription to Buckeye Scoop is what you need to get for yourself, your spouse, your kids, your dad, your mom, whoever, because it is killer. People love it. We're giving out badges to all of our active military and retired military members right now. Thank you for your service. Merry Christmas to everybody. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much as we march towards the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and our date with the Georgia Bulldogs. With that being said, I'm going to bring in our resident, Bill, the Sportsbook Greene Bank, fresh out of the Cosmopolitan, which is my favorite place on this entire earth. I actually got married at the Cosmopolitan, so it's always fun for me, and I know you and your lovely girl Carolyn love going there. It's a fantastic Christmas gift. But how are you feeling coming off of a great vacation?
Good, man. Real good. We had a good time, and like you said, Cosmos can't beat it. It's just you really don't have to leave. You could entertain yourself there for a whole week or 2 weeks, but we did some other things. But man, you could find just everything you want there, and just spend most of your time in the Cosmo and forget the rest of the Strip and the rest of Vegas. You could really have a good time.
Yeah,
we did other things and had a great time. We usually go every year. It's kind of her Christmas present. There's nothing I can buy her, and so I take her there for Christmas. And it just so happened we went later this year than we usually do because we wanted to see the Patriots-Raiders game. Got Chris Ash and Carmen Brasillo on the Raiders side, Nick Cayley, Ross Douglas on the Patriots side. So had a lot of my dudes there and had a great time. Saw the craziest ending I've ever seen. You think you've seen it all, and I followed football a long time. I saw something I've never seen before. And, like I say, I'm one that thinks I've seen it all, but never seen that one before.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I had Chandler Jones as an individual defensive player. I told you that. I have the screenshot. I was screaming at the TV because, the Patriots with Bill Belichick, you always consider the most disciplined, the hardest working, the don't beat themselves, and smart, physical, tough, mentally tough. And that was the dumbest play I think I've ever seen in my life. Where
it's up.
Jacoby Myers,
you threw the ball 30 yards backwards to the most unathletic human being on the planet. Like, what is Mac Jones going to do from there? What would Tyreek Hill do from 50 yards out? What are you going to? It was so stupid. It's beyond belief how dumb that was. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a dumber play. I mean, you look at G. Scott's headbutt in the Michigan game. I mean, that was really dumb. Yeah. But this was dumber, So, crazy game, man, and beautiful stadium. If you've never seen the Vegas football stadium, and you hear someone say state of the art, man, this thing is state of the art. It is the most amazing place you could imagine. So if you get a chance to go to Vegas and there's an NFL and the Raiders are home that weekend, man, go see them just to see the stadium. And the whole atmosphere, it's very Vegas. Like, you've been to games. I've been to Steeler games, Browns games. I've been to Miami Dolphins games. I've been Patriots. I go every year. Now, this is Vegas. It's a Vegas production, and it's entertainment from start to finish. It's great.
For people that haven't been to the Cosmopolitan, when you walk in, what's your initial rush and excitement? Because it has a distinct smell. I looked up the smell. You walk in, there's a scentology thing that when you walk in, it's got a very distinct smell that smells great. And then you walk in clean. Yeah.
No, it's the best place, I think. Yeah. I mean, I love the Bellagio, and you can name them all off. They're all pretty great, but Cosmo to me is better. And Carolyn and I were an older couple, I guess you'd say, but we think young, and Cosmo's young, and we like it there.
Yeah.
So we think we fit in. So that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I go in the summer because the pool's fantastic. I'm a pool guy during the day because I don't gamble, so it's like I like to sit at the pool, but it's a blast.
I just bet on sports, and you don't have to go to Vegas to do that. I don't know how to play blackjack, roulette, craps. I don't know how to do that stuff. Never done. So her brother gives her $10 to put on a slot machine. Took us like 15 minutes to figure out where to put the money and we're like total morons. So anyway, we go there. She likes to shop and eat, and it's her Christmas present. We do what she wants. And she loves NFL football. She loves going. She's not going to sit for 3 hours and grind away on the couch, but man, she loved to go. So it was a great vacation. Now charged up and ready to tear into signing day. I mean, I don't like it the way it is now. For anybody new to recruiting that's following the split signing days, it's not what it used to be. When it all happened on the first Wednesday in February, the bowl games were all over, national champion crowned. Everything was done, and that's what you looked forward to. Now, I mean, yeah, signing day is cool. There's another signing day coming. The bowl games are just starting. The championship's not even – I don't know. They ruined it by putting the first one in December. It's not the national holiday that it used to be. Like I say, for anyone just starting to follow recruiting now that doesn't know what it was like when it was strictly one signing day, first Wednesday in February, it was about as close to a holiday as you could get. For people that follow this stuff, I mean, people plan their vacations, their days off from work, sick days, whatever they had to do, you were on your computer that day. You couldn't tear yourself away. It's just so different now, and I think they really ruined what was, one of the greatest days of the year.
Yeah,
but the rest of it, we're still plowing through.
Yeah. I remember like the hype around it, even just when I was getting recruited. Then I remember when I was coaching, when I was a player. The Terrell Pryor. Again, I was on the beach in Acapulco with Anthony Gonzalez and Todd Beckman, and we're walking along the beach, and I have no eligibility left, but we knew Terrell was getting ready to commit, and some random dude runs up to us on the beach in Mexico, and we're about half crocked, of course, and because we're on spring break, and he runs up and says Terrell's going to committed to Ohio State, and I'm telling you, man, it looked like Todd looked like someone shot his dog in front of him or something, man. Oh my God. I was like, oh God, the rest of the vacation, he was slumping after that, man. I was like, oh God. I was like, why'd you have to tell Todd in the middle of Acapulco? But, no, I agree. I miss the old days of signing day because there was just, it was like a cancel your work day, go to the sports bar, take your laptop, put it on the TV, watch the different guys announcing. I remember Sean Crable was at Massillon, and rumors were Michigan, and then he goes to Michigan, and Prescott went to Michigan. It was funny because we won the national title, beat the Hurricanes, and I'm like, oh, of course these guys are gonna come to it. Nope, Michigan, and I was like, oh, well, I guess not. Yeah. So yeah, but it was something else. And again, how much do you think the transfer portal has kind of dampened signing day too? Because you used to at least have these guys for 3 years, and now it's like you might have these guys for 6 months, and then they're out.
Right. Oh, there's a ton of transfer portal news right now. Everybody across the country. It's just shocking to me that people are fighting over a dude from Tulsa, a dude from Rhode Island, and a dude from, UAB or whatever. I mean, when you're fighting over those guys, and those guys are your saviors, then you need saved. And I think Ohio State should be fighting over those guys. When you look at the backups, I thought the backups were not good all year. I wrote it all year because I watch every game, watch them all twice, watch every play, and the drop-off was falling off a cliff from starters to backups. And Ohio State got through most of the year unscathed. And then, of course, for the Michigan game, you lose Matt Jones, and there was a drop-off there, believe me, drop-off. So I don't know. I think they need to be going after Rhode Island guys and UTEP guys and Tulsa guys, because the guys behind the starters were not good at all. Nobody showed anything that made me think, wow, this guy's going to be something someday. No.
Yeah.
I saw nothing out of the backups to make me think any of them are all that good. So, you need Whippler to come back, which I know you don't think he is. They need Matt Jones to come back. Donovan Jones will move to tackle. I know people like Josh Fryer. To me, he needs to get a lot better because I'm always talking about dudes that can play in the game you're playing in another couple weeks.
Yep.
I don't care about beating Minnesota with a guy. I need to beat Georgia with that guy. So that's, Enoch, we liked Enoch when we saw him in the summer. I don't like him very much in the fall this year.
Yeah.
He's got to get a lot better. And, I mean, you can see why they're offering all these O-linemen out of the portal. That, it doesn't matter what I think of their backups or what you think of the backups. It really doesn't matter. We don't count. When you see them offering all these offensive linemen, they're telling you what they think of their backups right now.
Oh, yeah.
They're telling you. They're not offering wide receivers right now. Why? They got Marvin and Emeka coming back. Well, they're offering linemen. They're offering every old lineman in the portal right now. It's got a pulse.
Yeah.
And that tells you what they think of those guys. So, that's going to be exciting. I mean, they need tackles. They need tackles in this class. We both like Luke Montgomery a lot.
Yeah.
And but Luke is a developmental guy. You're not bringing in true freshmen to solve your tackle problem. That's why you're going to Rhode Island.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think it's going to be interesting because I think Luke, one of these guys is going to have to try to get in the mix next year because we are short at tackle. And again, I don't know how you ever are going to keep 4 good tackles that stay because Ryan Jacoby started at Pitt, so Max Ray went to Colorado, who would have been, he would have been a backup or he probably would have been the 3rd tackle this year. He had to medically retire because he had an injury, but Tommy Brockemeyer left Bama, so he's gone, and then they just went and got Caden Proctor. So is that going to push one of their 5-star tackles in the portal? Because I mean, I can't imagine that Caden Proctor is not going to start or at least play a lot for Bama because he's a freak. Yeah, you start him and J.C. Lantham at tackle, and it's just I just think that when you're a tackle, it's a lot of these positions, man. It's you got to get on the field and play, and to be an NFL player, you don't have to play at Bama. It helps, but Eric Fisher went to Central Michigan and went 1st overall at tackle. So it's the Michigan Wolverines turned their nose up at him. Michigan State Spartans turned their nose at him.
Did he go to Western?
Central Michigan Chippewa.
I saw him at a combine, a minor combine, or maybe it was I can't remember. It might have been Sound Mind, Sound Body. I saw him. And I thought he was okay, and his dad, I talked to his dad, and his dad's like, well, Michigan State and Michigan are not going to recruit us at all. And we really want this. One of the offers he wanted, he didn't get. He either wanted Central and didn't get it and went to Western, or he wanted Western, didn't get it and went to Central. He was fighting for a MAC offer that he didn't get, and then he ended up 1st pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think tackles are hard to evaluate, and I think that the beauty of the portal is there's a lot of these kids that they might have been under recruited. They go to a small place like Rhode Island, or they go to Florida, like the kid from Florida International who went to LSU last year, who Ohio State really wanted last year. It's because that's the thing that's kind of exciting about the portal is these kids can never act like they arrive. You can't be like, oh, I made it, I got the Ohio State offer, I'm on the roster, and you didn't, so you're pushed off to Florida International or Rhode Island or Cincinnati or Miami of Ohio. Because if those guys go and ball out there as true freshmen and you're sitting there holding the clipboard, Ohio State can go back and get those guys the next year, which is you
can cover up your mistakes. You can fix your mistakes.
The
first one that kind of got to me was Jonah Jackson. Leaving Rutgers. He was going to be in the NFL regardless. He could have transferred from Rutgers to Kent State. He could have went to Akron. He was going in the NFL. He's great. But he wanted to win. He wanted to play big-time football every Saturday. He didn't want to play at Rutgers in front of no crowds, go 4-8, hope you can get breaks and go 6-6 and play in the Garden State Bowl. He didn't want that. And he really achieved everything he wanted to do by coming to Ohio State. It was a great move. And that kind of opened my eyes to it's not just somebody in the portal that sucks or has been forced into the portal by the team he started with, and they pushed him to the portal. It can be a really, really good player. It just wants to win. Has watched on Saturday Georgia play LSU. Has watched the Ohio State-Michigan game. It's like, I want to play in those games. That's what I want. I want to play in a playoff game. So that really opened my eyes that, that those guys are available now where they didn't used to be. They weren't going to transfer to Ohio State to sit out a year and then try to play in two. That wasn't going to happen. But now, instant eligibility, it's really changed things. So, and I'm kind of half joking about getting a Tulsa kid or a Rhode Island kid because if the guy can play and the guy's a future NFL dude, you want him on your team. And like you said, not all of these NFL starters have come from Bama. They come from everywhere. Maybe Ohio State land, and I don't want to denigrate those kids. I haven't really looked at the film yet on some of them.
Yeah.
So kind of half joking about that. But, at one point they took a kid from Rutgers to be an O-lineman, and that kid was a darn good player. You'd take another Jonah Jackson today if he was available.
Well, and see, those are the kind of guys that I think you got to harvest are the guys that are at like a MAC school or a low Big Ten school or – like Purdue just lost a 3-year starter at guard to UCLA. So I mean, like those are the kind of guys I want. Guys that they've got starting ability, they have film, it's good film, and they can step in and maybe step up a notch and go to the show. Because you got to remember, Bill, like you've been to the Woody Hayes at the summer camps, walking around. Think about how many of those linemen you say, man, I like him. I don't think he's Ohio State good, but he's a damn good player. And then he goes to like Akron or he goes to Toledo and he bought like Greg Manx was a kid that went to Toledo. He's played in the NFL for like 8 years, and it's like, that's the kid that could have played at Toledo for 2 years. And then, when these kids, they walk around the Woody Hayes, they see how nice it is. And then they go to a MAC facility and like, well, this isn't quite Ohio State. It's not as gaudy or as cool or doesn't have the cachet. They could come to Ohio State then and then say, hey, I could beat out Enoch Vamahi or I could beat out Josh Fryer because I've got 2 years of tape and I was second team all MAC last year when these guys were just watching, so I don't know. Like, I mean, again, I look at like Khalil Mack is like the classic where it's like, can you imagine if that kid hit the portal after his 3rd year? He was projected as a first rounder before the Ohio State game. Then he plays the Ohio State game and he projected top 5. So imagine if he goes to Ohio State opposite Joey Bosa or he goes opposite, Alabama or whatever, it's like, that's like the classic to me is there's these really good players like Antonio Brown was productive at Central Michigan. And imagine if he goes to like the Miami Hurricanes because he's from Liberty City or, there's like these guys that they go far away from home because they don't get an offer anywhere else. And then they could come to wherever. Like, I don't know. The portal, it's exciting to me. I think it's kind of a two-way street, but if you're trying to change your room out, because again, if we miss on a position or it's kind of like how, if we lose Dylan Raiola or we don't get a running back in the recruiting class, I'm like, well, I don't really sweat it because the portal's there. Like the portal's like shit. Or you can go take a crack at a quarterback next year. You can go get Drake May, or you can go get like a guy like that and say, hey, do you want to throw it to Emeka and Marvin?
Yeah. No, it's changed the game. I mean, I know people hate NIL. They hate the transfer portal. And we don't know where this is headed yet. I mean, it's so fresh and so new. What I think is going to happen is I think it's going to open up college football. And I don't think, for a while there, you could pick 6 teams, Bama, Georgia, LSU, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, pick those 6, and 4 of them were going to be in the playoffs just about every year. You might get one outlier where Washington sneaks in there, but for the most part, we knew who was going to be in the playoffs. I think we're seeing it starting to change now. You saw Cincinnati last year, Michigan last year. Now you got 2 Big Ten teams in there. No Bama this year. So I think as this keeps going with NIL and the transfer portal, I think it's really going to open up college football where it's not going to be 4, 5, 6 teams, same ones year after year after year in the playoffs. I think as we get 4 or 5 years deeper in this, man, it's really going to get crazier, and they're going to expand the playoffs to 12. It could be like March Madness, where some team gets hot with their NIL guys and their transfer guys, and they win it. Look at USC this year. That was a team transfer all the way.
Oh, God.
And they missed the playoffs by an inch. I mean, they were right there to make the playoffs. So, I don't know. I think it's really more exciting for college football. But if you're one of the haves, if you're Bama or Ohio State, man, you don't want to see this at all. You like having that magic carpet to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's going to open up college football for a lot of other teams to get better. If you got money and you got boosters willing to pay money, hallelujah, man. You know, take your shot.
I couldn't agree more. You were in Vegas. I was kind of laughing. I was like, God, of all the times Ben could go take a vacation, when the number one quarterback in the country decommits from Ohio State and Armageddon is happening. And I was like, man, I wish I was at the Cosmo right now eating secret pizza. That'd be amazing. But your thoughts on Dylan Raiola decommitting again? I know people are flustered and whatever, but like, I just don't sweat it anymore. Cause Ryan Day, you know, he found when he doesn't like a room, like when he didn't like Tate Martell and those guys, he went Justin Fields. That he had Haskins, Justin Fields. You know, he's gone after Malik Willis in the portal. Rumor has it he went after Drake May in the portal. You know, if he doesn't like what he sees, or even if he likes it, but he can go out and get a top 5 NFL quarterback, he's gonna do it. So it's like, you know, I don't know if they were comfortable with that, but hey, he is always gonna have you know, we've had the All Big Ten quarterback for 10 straight years. But your thoughts on that, Bank? Because again, I don't care.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming at all. The kid's got everything he needs to be a star. And I mean a star. I mean, he's got it all. But he's a high school junior right now. And most of what the excitement is about Dylan Raiola is the fact that 24/7 ranked him as the number one player in the country. And that doesn't guarantee anything. Go back and look over all previous number one player in the country for the past 20 years since his recruiting ranking started. Half of them you never heard of before in your life, never, you know, and half of them are really good. So I really like the kid's talent. I know you did too. I mean, he's got everything he needs to be a star. But, you know, I think there's some red flags here. I really do. I want to see where he ends up. I know that, you know, here in Nebraska, but I'm here in Georgia too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The nice thing is, if I'm going to lose that kid, say he is a superstar, becomes a college superstar, I'd rather lose him in the, you know, late in his junior year than lose him a week before signing day.
Yep.
You got a long way to go here to replace Dylan Raiola. You know what I mean? It's better to lose him in his junior year than to have Brandon Innes call you tonight and say, "Sorry, coach, I'm going to go to Miami." You got 4 hours. You got 4 hours to try to answer that. You know, so you hate to lose the kid. You hate, you know, but if you're going to lose him, rather lose him now than week before signing day in 2024. And, you know, the one thing we've seen, don't sweat quarterbacks or wide receivers at Ohio State. Don't sweat those two positions. They're going to be fine there. You know, worry about linemen. You know, worry about linemen. That's the difference. And that's what we're going to see when they play Georgia. I mean, I think Emeka and Marvin and CJ, I think they're going to be fine. They can, you know, Georgia's got to contend with them. But just about everybody else, man, you know, you need that's where the difference is, right? You know, that I see, you know, and I'm wrong. Ohio State may smoke Georgia, and you know, maybe I'll be wrong, but I think, you know, quarterback and wide receiver is the one place I don't think you have to worry about at Ohio State as long as Hartline and Day are there.
Yeah.
So they'll come up with something.
Yeah, and I think you're right, and I think, you know, with quarterbacks, you know, you can't get in love with a quarterback because, you know, out of every one that we take every other year, one of them is going to transfer. It's like a 50% transfer rate because quarterbacks have to go play. Like if you got to go throw it at Wyoming or wherever, like you got to go throw it on film to play in the NFL. Because like Josh Allen, you know, Jalen Hurts had to transfer. I mean, he's going to be the NFL MVP this year. Like Carson Wentz went to North Dakota. Trey Lance went to North Dakota. You know,
Joey
so
I mean, it's
Joe,
the
the
perfect
greatest
example.
ever. Yeah.
What an example that is. I mean, he could have stayed at Ohio State. And, maybe
What?
never been heard from me. I'm going to tell you about Joey Burrow. His dad, Jimmy, coached at OU, just a super guy, great guy. And, he used to come to Ohio State camp every summer to recruit for OU.
Yep.
And after Joey's first year at LSU, where he was all right, but he wasn't being projected as the number one pick in the draft at that point. So I saw Jimmy and I asked him, I said, man, how's Joey doing down at LSU? He goes, man, he's doing great. He loves it. He said he had a good year last year. We're hopeful this year he can build on that. He goes, but I told him, make sure you get your master's, make sure you get all the education you can get, because we're hopeful next year that, he could get drafted. And if not, he'll be in an NFL camp, we think. But that was the way that his family was talking in June. And you fast forward to about October, and there's no more worries about getting the Masters. We ain't worried about that. And we're not worried about undrafted free agent or hoping to get drafted in the 5th or 6th, maybe the 7th. No, that stuff's all out the window. But that's the way his dad was talking in June before his final year at LSU. So you never know, man. I mean, it's the craziest business.
And that's his dad. His dad was a coach for 30 years, college football coach. So it's like his dad is a realist. He knows, hey, you got to have a good year. And the first year was okay. It was okay. Maybe get into a camp and try to make a practice squad. And because that's why I laugh when people are like, the Haskins versus Burrow. When Burrow left, and people were like, nobody cared when Joe Burrow left. No one was like, oh my God, we're gonna lose.
Darn good. Dwayne was good.
Oh,
now Dwayne should have came back to Ohio State, but yet he got drafted in the first round. So why should he have come back? You know what I mean?
If you can go top 15, you go. Get out.
Yeah, I mean, the money is so sick. The money's so sick. I mean, you have to go. And like we were talking about, like CJ Stroud. If you take money out of the equation, which you can never do, but if you take money out of the equation, I could make a case that CJ should come back to Ohio State. He would be a much better player. He's still raw as a player, I think. And I think the ceiling is still higher.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't take money out of the equation. Money's always number one, and it should be, so he's going to go, and he's going to be the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
For him to come back to try to be the first pick in 2024, is stupid. Blow your shoulder out, something, No, he's got to go. But as a player, I think he would really benefit with another year, which when the money's involved, forget that.
Yeah. And plus you hit free agency a year earlier too. So you're 24. If you're a 20-year-old rookie, you go 4 years. If they get their option as a first rounder, you're 25 when you hit your free agency mark. So then you're like, like think about Joe Burrow's second contract. He's going to sign for $75 million a year, probably. I mean, if Mahomes is making 50, give Joe 3 more years. I mean, it'll probably be 60, 65, $70 million a year, 10-year deal, $700 million. I mean, it's a good life. But let's talk a little bit about this class real quick. We'll kind of just go through. We'll just go position by position. Obviously the quarterback is our newest commit, Lincoln Kienholz. Give me, I don't know. Should we do like a number? Should we do a letter grade? I don't know. I mean,
I mean, they kind of got stuck there. If Raiola would have decommitted 8 months ago, you might have walked out of here with, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. But, it was tough for one of those guys to look at Ohio State with Raiola behind him, McCord, Devin Brown ahead of him. But if Raiola would have decommitted a while ago, I think they're in the picture for Malachi Nelson or, whoever you want, Nico or whoever. So that kind of hurt him there. That being said, the Kienholz kid can play. He's good. He's as good as Brock Glenn, who they originally had committed. So I think they're fine there. I think the kid's a player. I don't think he's like a clipboard holder for life. I don't see that at all out of him. I think he's a player. He's either going to play for Ohio State or he's going to play for someone else, like we talked about earlier. He is not a 4-year sitter. You know what I mean?
No.
He's going to play somewhere.
Yeah, he's not Chug. Yeah, he's the guy that's got to go.
No,
He'll go
not
play
at all.
somewhere. And I love the kid's film. I know it's bad ball, it's South Dakota football, but he's he can do a between the legs dunk. Like if he's a good athlete, like if he's not, I don't know how many of I don't know if CJ, if you give him the basketball, he's going to go between the legs and rip it like this kid can. And so, he's a competitor. He's a great baseball player. I like him. I think the problem is when you jump into bed with Dylan Raiola and you've got these things, you sit down and they're saying, okay, you're not going to take a superstar this year, right? Yeah, sure, Dylan. Yeah, we're not going to take a super. We're going to take like a placeholder, a top 10 guy, but not the number 1 guy, not Malachi. Because I think the thing that's going to keep Dylan away from USC is Malachi. He's the number 1 player. He's a phenom. So like, does he want to go and sit?
To compete. I mean, if he's scared to compete, then God help him. Go to Kent State or go to Akron, try to be Ben Roethlisberger. I mean,
yeah.
These, I don't know. Just have a bad feeling about the whole Raiola thing. It just didn't. The way it went down just didn't sit right to me. Probably doesn't sit right to Ryan Day either.
Oh, God.
Right now, we're going to see how this works out. I don't think he's a lock to Nebraska. The way he is talking to Georgia, I know that for a fact. So, see where this goes. I mean, but talent-wise, the kid's monster. He's a monster. Got it all. Physical talent, A++. He got in a good line when God gave out quarterback talent. He got in the right line. So we'll see. But for this class, Kindholz, he's fine. He's a good quarterback, and you got to take one every year. You can't skip a year. You got to take one every year because these guys are going to walk out on you when they're not the starter.
Oh yeah, that's why we've taken 2 a bunch of years. I mean, because you take Jack Beller, then you throw CJ Stroud in late, before Jack can really flip, and you know that one of them's going to be out. One of them's going to be processed out, and again, I'm fine with that. Because again, like when you shake. Yeah, it's like when you're a 49er and you're going after gold and you're like peeing in the dirt and you're just looking for all you need is 1 gold nugget. You don't need 100 of them. You just need 1. Yeah. So that's kind of what.
You almost worry about this year with quarterbacks. You're almost worrying about this year, where in the past you used to always project.
Oh yeah.
2, 3, 4 years. Now you almost got to worry about next year. Let's worry about next year.
Yeah.
And the heck with the kid's going to get mad and leave and all. You can't worry about that. So, quarterback, I think they're fine. Letter grade, I don't know. I'm not good at those grades. I just know.
B, C.
God, I'm in the can play or can't play. I think you can play. I think you can play.
Can play. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go to running backs now. So running backs, that's been a disaster. I mean, we thought there was a point where it was going to be Richard Young, Cedric Baxter. We had like these visions of cherry plums dancing in our heads. Reuben Owens, and we don't have anybody. And
I'm gonna just and you've been around me long enough. I'm the last guy that back in the old days blamed every time you lose someone in recruiting. It's because he got paid, he got bought, now they do NIL, same thing. I'm the last guy to ever say that until it's true. And in this case, Mark Fletcher is a 1,000% NIL loss. He committed from Ohio State, and conventional wisdom was that he's headed to Florida. Well, no, he held out. He went back and forth between Florida and Miami, and he has secured the bag. And God bless him. God bless him as a running back.
Oh, God.
And I don't know, like I say, how do you guarantee that money? I don't know. But Mark is surrounded by good people, man, that if there's a way to guarantee that he gets every penny being promised to him, he'll get it because he's surrounded by sharp people. So, but there's no way to blame Tony Alford in that. The kid loved Ohio State, loved Tony Alford, loved money more, and I get it, man. I totally get it. But that was an NIL loss. Maybe the first one that I've seen at Ohio State. I know they mentioned Terrence Brooks last year. I never really could get that confirmed. This one is an NIL loss, and it happened late in the process. You know, you wish Mark would have done it a long time earlier so you could go after someone else. I still think they'll end up signing a running back in this class. And I think they need to. I know that room looks stacked, and the rooms are stacked until they're not stacked, like the morning of the Michigan game. Things weren't so stacked. So I think I would take 2 in this class, to be honest with you. I would probably take 2 backs. And if they're good, you keep them. And if they're not good, you process them. Take 2 next year. So right now, incomplete grade. I don't know where they're going, where things are headed. But, Mark Fletcher was an NIL loss. So plain and simple. You want Mark Fletcher? You can call him tonight. Get into the game. If you can call him and get into the game and, get the collective, get Cardell to make a outbid Miami, you'll get Mark Fletcher. You can still get him right now. If you want to play the A&M game, the Louisville game, if you want to play the Miami game and out Miami, you can get Mark Fletcher tonight. So get Schottenstein on the horn, get Cardell on the horn, and they can make it happen. I get the boosters to dig deep too.
Oh, I mean, and the number is 750, 3 million plus, I mean, that's a lot of scratch, man. I mean, and that kid, you walk in that locker room and you got 3.
What did Trey Sermon sign for? I don't know if he signed for that much. I don't know what he got.
What, at Oklahoma?
No, when he signed in the NFL.
Oh, he didn't get. Oh God, I don't know. About 3 million. I mean, he might have got $1 million. He got cut on his rookie deal. I mean, right.
So Mark Fletcher is going to be paid as a 2nd-round pick before he carries the ball in college, and God bless him.
God bless him is right.
If the money does end up being, transfers over to him and his family, then God bless him. He did the right thing, in my opinion. That's the key.
Oh,
playing
God.
in Miami, and that is not a developmental program. Mario may take it there, but it's not there today. And the atmosphere is worse than Kent State's atmosphere.
No,
worse. I've been to games at both. Kent State's better. So, but if he gets that money and he gets that secured money, God bless him. And if he busts his butt, he'll play in the NFL. Every running back in the NFL does not come from USC, Alabama, Georgia, or Ohio State. They come from everywhere. So, I think Mark did the right thing. Not what Tony Alford would want to hear, but
so how do you grade or how do you evaluate positions like Tony Alford, running back? Because there's certain positions that are going to drive a lot more NIL money. Running back, quarterback, especially quarterback, receiver. Because Brian Hartline is like, there's people that are recession proof. He's like NIL proof right now because Brandon Ennis could get money, Tate could get money all day, every day.
Yep. Those are pure NIL kids. Every kid that plays for South Florida Express, we know that group. Those kids are all NIL. I mean, they know the rules. They know what's out there. They know everything. And they're looking out for themselves. And somehow Brian Hartline is able to convey to them. And I still say it's comfort in relationships. Even in the NIL era, he was able to develop that relationship with those kids and make them comfortable that they're going to, number one, they will not, they're not going to be living at McDonald's with cheeseburgers and Happy Meals if you come to Ohio State. You produce, you're going to get NIL opportunities. And then you're going to be developed for the NFL, which money's greater than NIL. And that's comfort. That still is comfort in relationships. Because Brian was able to out-recruit the schools that were offering, money. So, and those are NIL kids, Tate and Ennis, but they trust Hartline. They trust Ryan Day's system that in the long run, they're not going to go broke at Ohio State. They are going to get NIL opportunities at Ohio State and be developed for the big money in the NFL. So even in this NIL era, comfort and relationships still matter.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
A&M paid all that money. I don't know what kind of relationships they have with those kids. They paid, and that class just fell apart. and their program right now is burning to the ground, the Texas A&M. So we still don't know the repercussions of this NIL era yet, but we got a glimpse of it from A&M this year.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, that's a house of cards, and it's falling.
Yeah.
And you got a coach
yeah.
that you owe $91 million to, so you can't fire him. So, yeah.
Oh God! All guaranteed with there's no clawback. There's nothing. That's pure guaranteed money.
Every nickel.
My God!
Every nickel.
Every nickel. All right, we're gonna go on to tight ends. Jelani Thurman, maybe my favorite player in the entire class. Your thoughts on our one tight end? It looks like he's signing Wednesday. We held on, beat Auburn out.
Yeah,
love him.
I want the facts. I want the facts there. Auburn may not be done yet. There could be a midnight offer. There could be a
the midnight
NIL opportunity pop out of nowhere. Auburn. It's now Hugh Freeze. Man, I want the facts on Jelani. I'm gonna tell Jelani, get that thing to me as early as you can get it, so my heart continues to beat. I love the kid. I think he's so super talented, super athletic. I mean, he's probably a guy we haven't seen at Ohio State since Ricky Dudley. I don't know. I mean, that's who he reminds me. He reminds me of Ricky Dudley.
Yeah.
So,
6'6".
Oh, man. He's going to play. He's going to, all them other guys in that tight end room, they better work hard this offseason. Jelani Thurman, he's not going to beat out Stover, but he's going to beat out the rest of them guys, I think. I mean, because he starts out so much higher than they are athletically. So where they are right now, none of them, hardly any of them hit the field last year. They better get a lot better because Jelani, if he signs, and I think he will, I think he's coming. And he's coming to play. He's coming to play, not coming to sit.
Oh, yeah. And Ryan loves
that 12. He loved 12 personnel.
Oh, yeah.
There's your down the seam, split those safeties and go.
Yeah. And he kicks the hell out of guys blocking too. Like that's what I love about him because, like, a lot of these guys don't like to get their nails dirty, but he doesn't care. He likes to kill guys. And I'm like, oh my God! I was like, throw him the ball 10 times a game because the way he blocks, I'd be throwing him the ball. What's Jelani want? You tell me what route you want. I'll get it for you.
I think Jelani Thurman, I think, will be what we thought Ruckert was going to be. Remember Jeremy Ruckert coming in, man? We thought generational Gronk, but he was not.
Aaron Hernandez.
Very good. You know what I mean? Let's call spade a spade. Jeremy Ruckert wasn't very good.
No.
And not exactly setting the NFL on fire either. And he was a fairly high draft pick. So I think Jelani Thurman will end up being what we thought Ruckert was going to be.
Yeah, I think Cade's been more productive than Jeremy was, which is shocking because Jeremy was the number one tight end like we've ever signed, the highest rated 4 or 5 star, whatever it was. Like
Cade, did not have a good game against Michigan. No surprise there, no revelation there. But Cade Stover was a really good player this year for Ohio State, and I think he's coming back, and I think he'll be much better next year than he was this year when he was darn good. So, but when they go 12 personnel, man, I think Jelani Thurman's I think he's 12.
Yeah, he is a dog, man. All right, so we're gonna go cherry on top, the wide receiver class: Brandon Ennis, Carnell Tate, Noah Rogers, Bryson Rogers. Wow, obviously can play. What do you think of that crew?
Well, I think this 2023 crew is probably going to push a 2022 guy or two into the portal.
Or 4.
I think these 4 are blown by those 4. Because those 4 last year, they didn't see any time at all, didn't do anything. They had a walk-on playing ahead of them. And Xavier Johnson's a really good player too. I really like him, but he wasn't beating out Marvin or Emeka last year when they were true freshmen. So I think Carnell and Brandon and the 2 Rogers guys, I think they blow by last year's freshmen. Unless, but kids can take a leap. We'll see. That's my, initial thought right now is that this group is better than the 2023 group. The 2022 group. So we'll see. I think it's an A++ class. I think every one of these kids can be an NFL player one day. I think it's a great group. One of my favorite wide receiver groups
Ever.
ever Ohio
Yeah.
State. I mean, this is a crew here. This is really a crew, and don't forget who's coming the year after, Mr. JJ.
And JoJo. JJ and JoJo.
I want it on record that the bank, in his fading years, JJ Smith will start from day one at Ohio State. And I want that on the record so everybody can make fun of me next year if you want. I'm going to tell you what. Good luck keeping JJ off the field when he gets one more year of weight training, one more year of speed training, one more year. I mean, JJ's going to start day one. That's my line. I'm sticking to it. And, I'm putting my name on JJ as a starter.
See, when I compared him physically, he looks like Julio Jones because he physically he's jacked. Like if I show you a photo of Julio, like his junior year, and then JJ, you'll be like, oh damn. Like, because they are physically, they're not, there's no soft cookie dough. Or I mean, he is like veins, biceps.
He's a baby still. He's not coming to Ohio State for a while here. By the time he gets to Ohio State, he'll be so different than he is now. To me, he's a faster, more athletic Marvin Harrison or a faster, more athletic Mike Thomas. And those guys are pretty good players. So a faster, more athletic Michael Thomas, pretty good player.
That basically is Julio Jones, who's faster and more athletic.
He's playing in a great program. So not only is he going to develop but he's playing against great players all the time. So his game is elevating. He's not a guy that's going to be stagnant in high school and kind of not progress because he's not being challenged. That's not the case with the dudes they play. And he plays against great players in practice every day too. So, JJ will start day one. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, so now we're going to go to your favorite position of all time, the offensive line. We got Luke, we got Josh Padilla, Austin Sareveld, Miles Walker. A lot of question marks around this class. 3 Ohio kids. We got a kid from Connecticut, Miles. We couldn't get Caden Proctor to come in. It's like you're just looking for that crown jewel tackle. They're hard to find. And again, of course, your boy Nick Saban flips him from Iowa the eve of signing day because why bank? Because it's not a hobby down there.
I know. And coming off a year where Nick doesn't playoffs, how much fun do you think that's going to be around there over the next year? Them guys, he's not going to be happy. So he's taking it out on every other school right now in recruiting, and that current Alabama roster, them guys better be prepared to work next year. And you saw a lot of guys hit the portal. God bless them, man, for getting out of there because it ain't going to be no fun around there. Next August when it's 141 degrees in the shade, it's going to be brutal down there in Bama. They don't like not missing the playoffs. So Nick's not happy. So he's out taking other people's recruits and doing what he's got to do. So, Caden Proctor's a stud. So, maybe Samson Okunlola will visit Ohio State. Maybe he'll show up tonight. He keeps saying he's going to visit. He's been saying he's going to visit Ohio State since he was 11 years old. He said he was going to visit Ohio State, but he hadn't gotten here yet. So wait till I like this. I like this O-line group. I don't love it. I don't think it's, but for Justin Fry being hired in January, and he was not recruiting these guys at UCLA. Sometimes when a position coach leaves one school for another, he can be recruiting the same kids that he's developed relationships with for a couple of years. Justin wasn't recruiting any of these guys at UCLA. So he started fresh. And I do like the fact that he was able to lock up the Ohio kids that he wanted. And people can say, oh, well, Ohio State, they get all the Ohio kids they want. Yeah, go back and look at Ohio kids that were offered by Greg Studrawa and what his hit percentage was. It wasn't 100, believe me. And it wasn't 75 either. So good to see him put the fence around Ohio, get the Ohio kids. They needed to hit one of those big-time O tackles, so that's going to take this class down a tad for me. But I love Luke Montgomery. I think he's a cornerstone kid you build on. The other two Ohio kids are, I think they're good enough prospects that see what you get. See what you get out of them. Miles Walker,
Yeah.
I think, is a pure project.
Mhm.
So we'll see there. But, to get Luke Montgomery, he's your cornerstone. He's your building block in this class.
Yeah.
So, but then next year, man, and we've been saying next year on this O-line for so long, but
Oh, yeah.
next year will be the key for Justin Fry. Right now, I think it's way too early to criticize Justin Fry. Next year, I don't think will be too soon to criticize Justin Fry if he doesn't pull a monster O-line class in that 2024 group.
So
No excuses. No excuses a year from today. None.
Absolutely. And I have a question for you. So how many years do you think there are three legitimate offensive linemen in the state of Ohio that we could get that could beat Bama or Georgia? Because over the last 7 years or so, I mean, I know there's been some guys that have slipped through the cracks, but I just don't see the talent. So when we don't get three offensive linemen from Ohio, I don't care because, we go out and get Donovan Jackson from Texas. So I'm not Nick Petit's from Florida. Paris is the one superstar we've gotten from, even DeWan's from Indiana, Luke Whippler's from Jersey. So I don't, I know that Stud missed on stuff, but I don't see the talent, honestly. I don't see the guys, if you're going to go beat the Georgia Bulldogs, I think you got to go out of state and go find, because the reason that the South,
nationally.
So
this is a good class, though. I mean, for his first class, it's okay. It's definitely okay. But he can't have this type of class next year. It's got to be better. And especially at the tackle position. Got to be better. I mean, this is okay. First year, first effort. I'm good with it. But, man, we're sitting here next year. It better be a better class, better group than this four. Give him a pass right now, but man, the heat gets turned up. O-line is so important. It's so key, so clutch, and you've got to be able to go from sea to shining sea across the country and pluck who you want.
And you said something really good that I just want to touch on, because I love your thought on this. How much do you grade a new position coach like Justin Fry when he comes from somewhere like UCLA versus a guy like Ed Warner, who came from Notre Dame, had more Midwestern recruiting territory, East Coast, versus Justin, who's out predominantly on the West Coast, predominantly, California kids, Samoan kids, that kind of, for UCLA's O-line. How much do you grade? And then for a second part to this question, a guy like Jim Knowles, Duke, Oklahoma State, hasn't recruited against Bama and Georgia for bowls, the linebacker that we lost to Georgia. How much do you grade on a curve, or how long do you just give these guys a standard 1 year to get their act together, so to speak, or how do you evaluate that? Because that was fascinating when you said that.
Yeah, well, I think for Justin Fry, he pulled in a good class. He really did. Not a great class, not a beat Bama and Georgia with all these kid class. I don't think, but next year there's got to be a higher talent level with Knowles. I mean, look at the linebacker group. I mean, you're nowhere. You know what I mean? And who would Al Washington have pulled? Do I think Al Washington would have got bowls? He might have. So. Jim Knowles got to pick it up, man. When you're nowhere recruiting, you better end up somewhere. And they're going to need backers in the next class for sure. They're going to need 3 in 2024, especially if you get blitzed in this one.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's something that's
where were they at? They were in really good shape with Tackett Curtis and Troy Bowles under Al Washington, and now you're nowhere. So it's kind of eye-opening, I think. So, Fry, a good class for Fry. What do you say for Knowles and his linebacker recruiting? You're nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working my way. I'm going to D-line next, and then we're going to go to linebacker. So Jason Moore, the linebacker, yeah, he's kind of the stalwart D-line.
Love him.
You know, he's a bad boy.
He needs the Buckeye bump up to 5-star status, and that Buckeye bump would be deserved. He is underranked, in my opinion. I think that kid's a 5-star. I think that kid is a stud. And I think he committed so early and kind of quietly that I think everybody's missed how great a player Moore can be at Ohio State. I think people have missed it. And I think they're right to be, infatuated with Keon Keeley and Mateo Uiagalelei, Damon Wilson. I get it. But Moore is, to me, he's on that plateau. I really think he is. So he makes this group good to me. And that's where I think it is. I think it's a good group. Now, you get Mateo's signature tomorrow or Damon Wilson, it goes to great. Instantly goes to great. But without Damon or Mateo, you're not getting Keon Keeley. Without that group, you add the Mickens kid into it, who I really like. Mickens and Moore, I think makes this thing better than good. It'd be a good plus class. But I think they're getting Mickens, but, you want to see that facts come through. Yeah. So Mickens and Moore, and then you got some kids that I think can develop behind them. So good class. Good class. Land Mateo and then edit this out and make me say great.
What are you hearing on Mateo Uiagalelei? I think he's coming to Ohio State. I had someone say he's in, or not he's in, but he referred to Ohio State as we lost to Michigan, and I was like, oh, he said we, but
Gosh, he's a tough one for me because someone I trust on the West Coast is telling me that USC is running third, which I thought all along that USC would bring out the music artist bag. Snoop Dogg and all the guys would seal the deal here. Mateo loves music, and he wants to combine NFL football with a music career. He wants to do both. Music's important to him. And I thought for sure the LA music scene might be able to pull the day here for USC, but I had someone I trust tell me that it's Oregon or Ohio State, and I think Ohio State wins that one. I think Larry Johnson wins that one. And I think development is going to be key to Mateo. So if the music thing is totally debunked and USC's running third and it's OSU versus Oregon, I think OSU can win that one. The funny thing with Mateo, his recruitment, and we're taping this, the night before signing day. So there has not been one crystal ball pick put in for Mateo Uiagalelei. And that is unbelievable to me that a superstar can go through the whole recruiting process, get to the night before signing day, and there is not one crystal ball pick for him. That is stunning. And that's just how good this kid has kept things under wraps, man. So nobody knows. Nobody knows. And when there's no crystal ball picks in there, that means none of the schools are talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The schools aren't talking to their guys. Like, hey, we got Mateo. We got him. Yeah. Put your pick in. We got him. No, there may be some picks come in. We're doing this on Tuesday night. There may be some picks come in Tuesday night, but as of Tuesday afternoon, I checked. No crystal ball picks from Mateo, which is unheard of in this era. Somebody always leaks something, hears something, knows something. Not with this one. Mateo has been the mystery recruit of this class.
Any thought to there being some sort of package deal with DJ somewhere? Obviously not Ohio State, but is there a thought of that?
Well, I heard Oregon kind of was talking about that, and then Bo Nix said, hey, I'm coming back. But if DJ and Mateo decide to go to Oregon, Uncle Phil will put Bo Nix in the portal. Bo Nix will be gone within an hour. Because Bo Nix, DJ, there's probably they're about even. I could deal with either one of those guys. But to add Mateo in, no. Bo thinks he's coming back. But if DJ and Mateo want to go to Oregon, Bo's not coming back. He'll come back to be the clipboard holder. Not to be the starter. So don't ever give up on Phil Knight. We both think a lot of Phil.
Oh, man.
But, realistically, I think, I think Bo Nix coming back probably does maybe put a kink in that. And, if I have to make a pick, gun to my head, I'm going to pick Ohio State here. And I think you probably would too.
Oh, yeah.
But that one's in pencil with a very light pencil. Maybe not even the number 2 pencil. Might be like a number 12 pencil. That's real dull.
A mechanical pencil.
With a big eraser on it. Nobody knows, man. Nobody knows with Mateo. He has been the mystery recruit. He is the mystery recruit in this class. He really is. And watch him tomorrow throw in for Saban. Won't shock me. Mateo could.
Oh, God.
If there's ever going to be a shock the world guy in this 2023 national recruiting class, I think it could be Mateo. Because nobody knows a thing.
Don't even say that. He goes to Saban tomorrow. Oh my God! I'll tell you, you'll be like this reading the boards tomorrow if he goes to Bama. You'll be like, oh my God!
And all the USC, Oregon, Ohio State people will be like, wait a minute.
Oh.
What? Now, I'm not calling that, but it wouldn't stun because nobody knows, and that's kind of, we don't see that too often. So if someone asks me who shocks the world tomorrow, I'm obviously going to say Mateo. Because just about anywhere he picks is going to be a shocker to people. Yeah. So he's the one to watch for. Mateo's definitely the one to watch for here.
Yeah, that feels like old signing day. Mateo's old signing day. There's you
never get that anymore.
Yeah, you don't get now. You got the story written and the edits made, and everybody's tipped off, and it's like Caden Proctor. Like one night, 8 people changed their crystal balls from Iowa to Bama, like overnight. Like 8, everyone just flips it, and it's like, So there's like, I miss old signing day.
That means the story's been written, the edits are done, the video's done.
Yeah,
they didn't all have 8 different sources magically no, it's over.
There's a lot of homework copying in the recruiting game.
Absolutely.
One guy does the homework, and they're like, all right.
I was in on that. I was running my percentage high, too.
Oh, God. All right, so linebackers, this will be quick. Arvell Reese, does he stay a linebacker? Yeah.
He's not a linebacker. No, he's not. His hand will be down. Yeah, he's already 230, whatever, 235, and he's not staying at 235. Them days are over. So he's down lineman. He could be really good too, by the way. He could end up being a Frank Clark-ish type player. He reminds me of Frank. I saw Frank as a high school player. We ranked him as a tight end, as a linebacker. Never thought down lineman, and then he just blew up, and I could see Arvell being a Frank Clark type player. And on the field, you'll take that.
$80 million later.
Wow.
The tweener, $80 million later.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to go to this DB class. We'll do the corners and safety. So Calvin Simpson Hunt, Jermaine Matthews, who's fantastic. Kay and Lee, probably not going to stay.
I don't think. Yeah.
I Malik Hartford.
I think Cedric Hawkins. Auburn, and of the 3 cornerbacks, he would be my number 3 guy. If I got to lose one, I don't want to lose anyone. If I have to lose one of them, I would remove Kay and stick with Jermaine Matthews and Simpson Hunt. Those guys are really good. And they get a good safety group. I don't think they're getting Caleb Downs. That would be a shock the worlder. I don't think it's going to happen. They fought the good fight there, battled it, did the best they could, and come up inches short of – I think they're going to come up inches short of Saban here for an amazing safety. Now, if a miracle happens overnight, Caleb Downs picks Ohio State, that takes this group to ultra amazing because he is Von Bellish, maybe better than Von Bell as a high school player. I mean, Caleb is really special. So, I would still take Mateo for Ohio State. If I had to pick one, if I got to get one of them, I would take Mateo, but Caleb would be close. He would be close. He's that good. Difference maker in the back end.
Yeah, and man, our safeties, we're losing Hickman, could lose Lathan. We need safeties, man. Bad. We need more DNs. We need more pressure players for the quarterback too. So it's like it's
They
got
need
to.
guys all over this defense. I mean, they need a lot of defenders here. The
Yeah.
safety class, I like this safety class that Ohio State's bringing in, but Caleb would take it from like to adoration. You know, it wouldn't be like anymore. You'd go from like to, marriage proposal, love.
Yeah.
Caleb, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't want to tease anything. I don't think Caleb's going to happen, but man, we've been shocked before, and that would be a good shock.
Yeah, it would go from the Jack Casino in Cleveland to the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas.
Yeah. With somebody handing you a bag full of money saying, I don't want this bag, you take it.
And here's a free meal on SDK too.
Yeah.
Well, Bank, this has been fantastic. Gonna wrap this thing up. Big signing day tomorrow. So just to wrap this up, you got Downs to Bama, Mateo in the lightest pencil ever created to Ohio State.
Yep.
Anything else? No Caden Proctor to Ohio State last second or anything like that?
I don't think. Mateo and Caleb. Mateo, I think, is a much, much, much higher choice than Caleb Downs. But Caleb loves Ohio State. He just loved Bama a little more. That was an inch. They lost that one by an inch if they do lose it. But, man, we've seen flips the night before. The kid sleeps on it, gets up in the morning and changes. That would be one to look for. And that would be a miracle out of the sky. That when you fall on your knees and you praise God above for throwing you Caleb Downs. I don't think it's going to happen. Mateo, I think Ohio State's getting him.
Damon Wilson, no. Georgia.
I think he's done to Georgia. They fought a good fight there.
Josh Mickens. We did not talk about him.
They're getting him. Yeah, no, we mentioned him in the DNs. They're getting him, and he's a really, really, really good player. He's not Mateo, Keon. He's not that group. Damon. He's not that three, but he's just behind him. And then I'm telling you, people are sleeping on Moore.
Oh, he's good.
Man, he's Cam Hayward-ish, and there's no team out there wouldn't like to have a Cam Hayward-ish player. So
God,
that's who I see. That's who I see he is. I see him as Cam Hayward, and you'll take a Cam Hayward every day of the week on any NFL or college team. Right now, you'll take him. Cam's the guy you want on and off the field. So that's my part.
Probably he's right on the edge of being an NFL Hall of Famer, I'd say. Cam is.
Yeah,
he's a great. I used to give him ride home in my Honda Accord, Bank, when he was a freshman. We'd go against each other all day and kill each other, and I'd give him a ride home. This is my boy. Yeah, so what a great kid. Well, I appreciate you, Bank. We're gonna wrap this thing up, my dog. All right. My camera is a little on the fritz, so I apologize for that. Let me switch this over so you guys got something to look at. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Great show today. Apologize about the technical stuff. The camera went a little fritzy, so I got to fix that. But thank you guys. I hope you guys had a great time with Bank and I over an hour. Great content. We are getting on Buckeye Scoop now for the rest of the night. We'll be grinding all night, having a great time. So again, I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. If you need a last minute fantastic gift, BuckeyeScoop.com is what you need. I love being on there. Great compliments. Honoring all of our armed force veterans right now. We're giving them special badges to denote what branch they're in. So thank you for your service. A little Christmas cheer. Appreciate you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Had a blast tonight. Signing days tomorrow. No better time to sign up for BuckeyeScoop.com. A subscription for a year is something that you'll never regret. People love it. We've got signing day tomorrow. Playoffs. Bulldogs, Michigan in the national title, second signing day, spring ball. It is round the clock. Transfer portal, the board's always nuts. So appreciate you guys as always. So hope you guys have a great rest of your night. This has been a fantastic night. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys. Thank you, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Happy signing day eve. Is signing day, full wall-to-wall coverage tomorrow from Bill the Bank Greene, Nevadabuck, and I. All day, every day, evaluating as the faxes come in to the Woody Hayes. So thank you guys for everything. Appreciate you guys. You guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.